it means Internet of Things. So if I go to Azure portal now and I type IoT, it will give me different options. We have IoT assets, we have IoT hub, we have IoT central application, we have IoT schema, but today we'll be talking about IoT hub. So when we say something is an hub, what does it mean? A hub is more or less like what brings different things together. So here now, in terms of IoT, an IoT hub brings different devices together. So what is an IoT? It's a managed service in the cloud that acts as a central message hub for reliable and secure communication between an IoT application and its connected device. So there are some applications like, if we are familiar with smart houses, there are some people that in their office, they can turn off their lights, they can open the door for somebody, they can close the door, they can do a lot of automations. So those are IoT devices. Those are IoT devices. So we have applications like that, like you can be in your room, you turn on your TV, you can turn off your TV, you can turn on the AC. So those are IoT devices. So Microsoft's solution now to manage all those devices is Microsoft IoT Hub. So IoT means Internet of Things. Internet of Things. So one of the key functionalities of IoT Hub is secure communication. So how does it help secure communication? It uses per device security credentials and access control to ensure secure communication. So per device security credentials, each device have its own credentials. So with that, there's secure communication and also device connectivity. Because most times, one thing Microsoft do is that they helps you connect your device together. So in terms of device management, IoT Hub is actually a good one for that. And also one important feature is scalability. IoT Hub can handle millions of devices and their backend solutions. So one use cases is industrial automation. So industrial automation, you can use it to monitor machines' performance, predict maintenance needs, and automating process. So you can use it for industrial automation. One important aspect that I like about IoT devices is smart cities. So we know now that in Lagos, if you are driving in Third Mainland Bridge, there is a speed limit that if you exceed it, the next time you are going to renew your papers, you are going to pay a particular fine. So that device that captures a car when the vehicle is moving over 80, that's an IoT device. So those devices now, like, yeah, if you are moving very fast, those guys now, they are in their office with that device installed in Third Mainland Bridge. They're able to monitor everything you are doing. That is an example of IoT devices that you can use. So it is used in smart cities. It is used for traffic management and street lights. So most of the street lights we see in the road, it is controlled from one central point. It's not as if the switch is on that road there where you just go, you turn it on. It's controlled from a control room. So there are IoT devices there that helps connect all those switches together so you can turn them on. So Azure Hub now is more or less like IoT Hub now is a hub that manage multiple devices. So you can bring multiple devices together and control them, monitor them. That is what IoT Hub is all about. So today we are going to be creating IoT Hub in Microsoft Azure. So I will be starting by searching for it, which we have already done, but I'll search for it again. You just search for IoT Hub. So once you search for IoT Hub, you will see different options to pick from, but you will just select what you want to create. So I'll just click on IoT Hub. Then once I select IoT Hub, I'll wait for it to load. Then once it loads, I'll click on create. So I'll just wait for it to load. So now, like I made mention the other time, anytime you want to create any resource in Azure, there are things that are constant. Subscription and resource group is constant. You must have a subscription before you create any resources, and the resources must be in a resource group. So I'll just collapse this resource group here and select my desired resource group. Then once I select it, I'll give the IoT hub a name. So I'll just call it hub. So I'll call it YAF hub. Then I can select the region that I want the device to be. So you can select any region of your choice. You can do anything any region, but mind you, it's good to select a region that is close to your location. So for the tier, I'll leave it as standard. We have basic, we have free, but I'll leave it as standard. Then for the daily message limit, you can see now the daily message limit for 400,000 messages, you are charged $25 per month. So if I click on the drop down now, you see other charges. For 12 million messages, you are charged $500 per month. So depending on what you configure, depending on how you want the device to be receiving messages. So we'll just leave 400,000 for our demonstration. Then the next setting here now is networking. So for networking now, just like for storage accounts, you can enable public access, you can enable private access. Same thing also applies to IoT Hub. You can enable public access or private access. But in our own case, we'll just use public access. Then for minimum TLS version, here now we are using TLS 1.0. So in your own case, you may say, okay, you want your own to be TLS 1.2. That should be the minimum version. So all these things, you are not the one that will decide. You can only say, okay, because if you are creating this IoT device now, so there are some devices that the minimum TLS version is supposed is 1.2. So there are some that it supports only 1.0. So depending on the device you want to configure, that's what determines the TLS version that you select. So the next part here is management. So for management, for permission, you can use role-based access control. You can use shared access policy. So depending on how you want the permission to be, but basically all these things are organization standard. So my organization can say, okay, I want it to be role-based access control. So if you say you want it to be role-based access control only, it means that for anybody to be able to manage this IoT, the person needs to have a rule that will enable him to manage this IoT, like maybe IoT contributor or a rule that is specifically to IoT. So we can use shared access policy rule. So or shared access policy and RBAC. So depending on you, you can say only RBAC only. So assign to me, you can say assign me IoT data contributor rule. If for instance, like this subscription now, I'm the owner of the subscription. So the owner rule supersedes this one. So I can manage the subscription. But if assuming that, let's say I don't have the owner rule or I have a rule lower than that, I can just say assign to me IoT hub data contributor rule. So, but in this case, I don't need it because I already have an owner rule. So if, for instance, now I'm employing somebody and I want the person to be working on IoT Hub, I can just assign this role to the person so that the person will be able to manage this IoT Hub. So we'll now go to add-ons. So for add-ons, you can decide to select device update for IoT Hub. So depending on what you want, you can enable Defender for IoT. So if you enable Defender for IoT, you will be charged 0.001 per device per month. So meaning that if you have 100 device, Microsoft will charge you 10 cents for those devices. So these are things that implies cost. So as you are using IoT Hub, if you want to use Defender for IoT, then you click on this checkbox, but this is what you'll be paying per month. So if we go to tags, so for tags now, this enables you to group your resources, to categorize them, so that if you want to, just like if you go to a supermarket now, most standard supermarket, they have different sections. They have sections for groceries, they have sections for different things. So here now you can tag your resources so that if you are looking for IoT hubs, this is where IoT hubs is located. So that is just the essence of tags. It helps you categorize your resources. So we'll just click on review and create. So we'll wait for the validation to complete. Once the validation completes, then we'll create the IoT hub. So we'll now click on create. But most times before you create, you can just review the settings before you create. Should in case if you need to make an adjustment to the settings, then you have an opportunity to make adjustment to the setting. So it's good you don't just jump straight after validation has passed to click on create. You also need to also review, okay, am I supposed to select one S1? Am I supposed to minimum TLS version? Is it supposed to be 1.0 or 1.2? You ensure that the settings here align with what you want. The resource group, is it supposed to be YAF.CLOUD computing ROG or another resource group? You check all these things before you create. So I'll just click on create. So once I click on create, it's going to create. Then we are going to add a device to this IoT hub. Then we'll monitor the device. We are going to see the performance of the device and how IoT hub works. So we'll just wait for the deployment to complete. So watch. Let's just monitor. Deployment will soon be in progress. It's loading. Deployment is loading. So most times, like I said the other time, you always see deployments in progress very well as a cloud engineer. So deployment is more or less like what you ask, what you are trying to create is undergoing the creation process. So it's creating. That's just what this means. So we'll just wait for the creation to complete. Deployment in progress. Deployment is in progress. So this one might take a while. So we'll just be observing it. Be observing it while it creates. So after this, then we'll be doing some other creation of resources. So now we can see that the status is created, but we'll wait for the deployment to complete. We'll just wait. Once the deployment completes, then we'll go ahead and access our IoT hub. Then we'll add a device to the IoT hub. So if you are here, can you raise your hands up? Let me know if everybody is with me. Or if so, you can just raise your hands up.
Yeah,
Just
sure.
okay. Use the raise of hand. Use the raise of hand or reaction. Okay. Only how many people now? 6 out of almost only 7 people. Okay. So our deployment is still in progress. So we just have 7 hands raised. Okay, 10. So Nathaniel, Aquila, Abati, how are you guys still with us? Okay, so that's nice. So we can drop our hands down. At least I just want to know if we are still following. We can lower our hands. So our deployment will soon complete. Let's just wait for it to complete. Okay, God so kind. Our deployment has completed. So we'll click on go to resource so that we'll view the IoT hub we just created. So from the IoT hub now, this is the overview page. We have the status. So the status is active, meaning that the IoT hub is what? Is active. So we have the location, which is East US. This is the subscription. Then tier, standard. The host name is yafhub.azure-device.net. And remember, when we were creating it, the daily message limit we specified was 400,000, and the minimum TLS version we specified was TLS 1.0. So now what you are majorly concerned about is this device management part. We have devices, we have IoT Edge, we have configuration deployment, updates, and queries. There are some people that their area of specialization is IoT. Microsoft even have a certification that is tailored to these IoT devices. So, but if you are doing Azure fundamentals, you will just cover the basics of almost every solution that Microsoft have. So that's why we're just touching it. It's not as if we're going to go deep into IoT. So right here now, we're going to click on devices because IoT Hub, like we made mention, is used to manage devices that connects to IoT application. So an example now is the example I give, like Lagos State in Third Mainland Bridge. There are street lights, there are cameras there that tracks cars when they are running on high speed. So those cameras are IoT applications. So there are some devices that is used to monitor those cameras. So IoT Hub now is a hub where you add all those devices to that monitors IoT application so that you can view them, you can manage all of them from one single interface instead of you manage from here, from here, from here. So IoT Hub now brings devices that connect to IoT applications together. So here now, I'll click on add a new device. So the new device I'm going to be adding, I'm going to be giving it a name like so the device now that I'm adding, I'm going to be calling it Raspberry device, my Raspberry Pi. So I'll just select it, but you can call it any name. Like for Lagos State now, they can call their own maybe maybe car tracker, camera tracker also. So now what I'll now do is after adding the name, all I'll just do is to click on save. So depend on the device. There are some devices that if you are adding, you need to enable IoT Edge. You need the authentication type. Some of them might not be symmetric key authentication. They might be CA signed. There are some devices that if you want to add it, you need the authentication type, you need to select CA signed. So let's take for instance now, that is why we as cloud engineers, most times we make research. If maybe a client meets you now, I want to add my device. I want to create an IoT hub to manage my IoT applications, to manage the devices that communicate with my IoT application. So what you do, you ask the person some questions, or you even tell the person, what's the name of this IoT application? Then you make research on the device. This device now, what authentication type can you use? Everything is online. Once you search online, you are going to see the authentication types and everything you can use with regards that device. So, but for this Raspberry Pi now that we are adding, we can leave the default settings. It's fine like this. But I just want to show us how we can add a device. So this is how you add a device in Azure IoT Hub. You just click on save. Once you click on save, you wait for the device to add. So once it adds, you are going to see it here. So if, for instance, now I want to add another device, it will still show here. If I click on add, that is why IoT Hub is used to manage multiple devices that connects to IoT applications. And IoT means Internet of Things. Internet of Things. IoT. Internet of what? Things. So now we'll click on Raspberry IoT Hub. So there are some informations that we are going to see here. So now this is our Raspberry IoT device. So now I want us to see something. I want us to see one small magic now that is going to happen. So each of these devices, they have the admin center whereby you can you can you can use their connection string to connect to them. So I'm going to go to Raspberry Admin Center. So I will get the URL. So I'll just paste it on another tab. Then I'll hit OK. So I'll hit enter. So once it loads, it should take me to Raspberry Automation. So I'll just click on next. click on next, click on got it. So basically, this is a device now that I want to add to Azure IoT Hub. Remember, IoT Hub is a center or place where you manage devices that connect to IoT application. So this is an IoT application as it is. So I want to manage the device that connects to this IoT application. So basically now, this is the device. This is the device. This is the application. So now, what I need here now is, normally everything, if you want to connect to anything, it doesn't just happen like magic. There have to be and they have to be something that will create that connection between the device and where you want to manage it. So now we can see if I click on run, nothing happens. It's even telling me to enter my IoT Hub device connection string. So if I come to this Raspberry device now, all I need to do is to copy the connection string. So I'll just copy this primary connection string here. I'll copy it and come to this Raspberry port here now, where we have device connection string. So I'll just paste it there. So I'll clear it. So I'll just come here, then paste it. So each device you want to connect to, they have their own admin login like this, where you can go there and add the connection string. So once you add it, we see now from the connection string here, I've added the connection string for the device. So I've added the connection string for the device here. So this is where I got it. Before I got here, I have to create the device from IoT Hub. So I just click on devices, create new, then from there, I just copy the primary string. So basically now, I will now go back to the Raspberry device, then click on run. So once I click on run now, we are going to see something. You see, the light is displaying. So basically now, I've been able to, so this light that is displaying now, from Azure portal here, I'll be able to see I'll be able to monitor it. I'll be able to see analytics of the devices and how it's run. We can see the light is running. If I want to stop it, I can stop it. So once I stop it, the device will stop running. Once I run it again, it will start displaying the light. So you'll be seeing it is sending message. So this message now that is sending, if the message exceeds 400,000, the in my configuration, remember, we specify that the message we want to allow is 400,000 message, and I was billed $25 per messages. So what this means is that as the messages is going, if it's 100 messages that is able to send, they will bill me for those 100 messages. So if I come back to my Raspberry Hub now, if I close this guy and I come to overview here. So from overview, I'm going to see some settings there. So we'll just wait for it to load. So once I come down now, we are going to see number of message used. You can see that it's spiked. It's spiked because it's working. From when we created it, everything has been low, but as of now, it's spiked. So this is where you can monitor it, and we can see the devices here. The messages used today is 3 messages, just 3. Then daily messages quota is 400,000 that we specify when we're creating the IoT hub. So basically, an IoT hub is used to manage devices that connects to IoT applications. So from here, you can monitor. You can say, okay, 3 messages. If I'm using Lagos State now as an example, you can say, oh, 3 people break the law. They exceeded their speed limits. It will be giving you messages of people that are breaking that law. So you can, I don't know the one they use. They may not be using IoT Hub. They have where they use to manage their own IoT devices. So it's just I'm just giving an example or an analogy of how IoT Hub works. So we'll check, other telemetry. Total IoT device is only one that we have. So let's take, for instance, now let's say you have more. You can add another one. So you can just work on it like that. So that's just how to manage IoT devices. So you can see the light is still running. So if I click on stop, it will stop. So if you have any question, you can ask at this time. Before we go to the next one, which is we are going to be creating resources with, we are going to be creating virtual machine with PowerShell and CLI. Remember the last time we created virtual machine, we used the graphical user interface. Graphical user interface is creating things from this portal. So this is graphical user interface where you come next, you put the name, you put this, you put that. But what we'll be creating now is we'll be creating virtual machine using PowerShell and Cloud Shell. So any question before we proceed? Does anybody have any question? Okay, so we can just proceed. Once we finish creating the VMs with PowerShell and CLI, then we'll close for today. We will know that on Saturday, because on Saturday we have our Papa announced a program for like that will be a foretaste of Shiloh. So meaning that Saturday we won't have any class. There won't be class because we don't know when Papa will close that day. I don't want to put anybody under pressure. Yeah, ask your question. Yeah, ask your question. Okay. So I'm not hearing you. I don't know if it's only me. Can anybody hear Mr. Kolawale Amos?
No, sir.
Okay. So as it is. Okay, please ask your question. Go ahead with your question. I can hear you. Your voice is very low. Maybe you should drop your question on the chat because I can't hear you. Okay. Your voice is breaking. Please drop. Yeah. Your voice is breaking, Mayo.
An IoT of Microsoft Azure.
Just drop your question on the chat. Your voice is breaking. So drop it so that I will answer the question. I'm on the chat now. Okay. Okay. So can everybody hear me clearly? Can anybody hear me clearly? Like, is my voice audible enough?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Very clear.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So while Mr. Kolawale dropped his question, we can just continue. So now we have created the IoT hub. So basically, this is how IoT hub work. So there are other settings, so but just that we are not going deep because this is a fundamental class that will just enable us to. There are some people that this is the only thing they do. They know how to manage Internet of Things devices. They know all these things. So with cloud now, as a cloud engineer, there's a company you work. If you are working there, your work is just to be adding devices and configuring them, monitoring. That's all. So there are many career opportunities in cloud that people can go into. So that's why we are doing the fundamentals. So that after the fundamentals, you can decide, okay, do I want to focus on development aspect of Microsoft Azure? Do I want to focus on the administration aspect? Like me now, I'm in the administration aspect of Microsoft Azure. Like we administer Microsoft Azure. We do some kind of developments like DevOps engineers, trying to deploy web servers, trying to deploy things. But my major core is application is administration. So depending on anybody, what your area of interest is. So Mr. Kola Walesi, how can someone go deep in IoT and the beneficial attack to it as a cloud engineer and the benefits attached to it as a cloud engineer? So IoT now, if you want to go into IoT, there's what we call competence. So competence is more or less like when somebody is good on a particular subject matter. So you can say, okay, you want to be good in IoT, you want to specialize on IoT, then I'm going to be dropping the link for you, a link that you can follow, the learning path that you can follow to become an IoT engineer. That means if you want to become an IoT engineer, you need the path you go through is the development aspect, because that means you want to be building, you want to be you go through the development part of Microsoft Azure. Don't worry, I will drop the learning path for you on the WhatsApp group so that you can follow through. Thank you very much for that question. So basically now, after creating resources, I'm going to delete it. Remember, any message this device is sending, they are billing me. So I'm going to delete it immediately because we are done. We have tested. We have seen that it's working. So I'll just go to the resource group, which is YAF Cloud Computing Resource Group. Then I'll delete it. So this is what we created, and I'm going to delete it. So I'll just click on delete. So most times, if you click on delete resource group, it means you are deleting everything. That is why you need to be very careful. As you check this box like this, you need to come here and click on delete so that you delete only this guy before you go and delete all the resources your environment have spent money to create for a very long time, because sometimes all these things happen. That is why part of the lab we are going to implement is resource lock. We are going to see how we can lock a resource so that even if somebody mistakenly tried to delete it, the person will not succeed. Because some people, they can just go and do things, and when they finish, that is when they will now discover that, okay, this thing I did, and you won't blame them because most times we don't care to know about the consequences of our actions. We just do them. So you won't blame them because sometimes it's like that. So I've deleted the IoT hub. So the next thing we are going to be creating is we are going to be using PowerShell to create a virtual machine. Enough of the GUI. So we'll learn how to use PowerShell to create a device. GUI is more or less like, if I want to create a virtual machine now, I'll come here, virtual machine. Then I'll search for virtual machine here. So it will create, it will go to virtual machine blade. So once virtual machine load, I'll wait for virtual machine to load. So we'll select it again. So now, these are the virtual machine I have. If I want to create a new one now, I'll click on create virtual machine. This process of creating virtual machine is going through the graphical user interface, whereby you can click on, you select the resource group, you select this, you select that. We have done this one. So the VM now we want to create it using PowerShell, Cloud Shell specifically. So I'll close this virtual machine. Then to use Cloud Shell, if you look at this Azure portal here, let me see if I can use something to mark it on the screen. So this place here, this part here is where you can is where you can where this is where the Cloud Shell is. You can see it. Those of us that are those of us that are into design, we know all this. We know. So let me clear the annotation and let me remove it. Okay. Just hold on. Let me remove the annotation. Okay. So basically, this is Cloud Share. So sometimes, because of the way my browser is, if I click on this sign and I increase my browser, you will see it will be hidden. You are not seeing it again. But if you click on these three dots, you will see it Cloud Shell. So this Cloud Shell is more or less like the online version of PowerShell. On my system, if I go to PowerShell, this is PowerShell, right? If we look at it, there's something common to Cloud Shell and PowerShell. If let me go back to PowerShell again. So from PowerShell here, you can see this sign here. This sign that looks like greater than or equal to. So if you come here to the the cloud shell, you see it. It also has greater than or equal to, meaning that this one is more or less like a PowerShell on the cloud, command prompt on the cloud. So you can run command prompt on the cloud. You can run PowerShell on the cloud. Sometimes it comes out in exam. They'll ask, where is that sign? Where is the cloud shell? So this is cloud shell. So if I read, if I increase the screen, my screen again, you will now see it here, Cloud Shell. So we'll be using Cloud Shell to create virtual machine. So we'll not be using GUI. So GUI is here, where you can click on what you want to do, come here, create the virtual machine, select the name. So that one is more or less like if you want to create multiple virtual machines, like 100 at the same time, this one will take your time. So that is why PowerShell is there, because you can use PowerShell for automation. So right now, we are going to click on Cloud Shell. So once I click on Cloud Shell, it's going to load. It's going to open. So I just click on Cloud Shell here. So from here now, I can maximize it because we can see it's giving me both the GUI and PowerShell. So you can maximize it. So you just click on maximize here. So wait for it to load. Wait for it to load. So we'll just wait. It's connecting. It's connecting to the terminal. So let's just wait. Okay, it has connected now. So as it is, it's now for me to drop my command. But remember, where we are now, we are in CLI. We have CLI, we have PowerShell. But the first one we are going to use is PowerShell. So we'll create a resource using PowerShell. So since I'm in CLI, I can always switch to PowerShell. So I'll just click on switch to PowerShell. Confirm. Switch to PowerShell.
That version is there.
If you can mute your mic, If you are not, if you don't want to ask a question, make sure you mute your mic, please. Okay, now I've switched back to PowerShell. I was in Bash before. I'm back to PowerShell. So I'll be dropping the command to create a virtual machine. So I'll just copy. I'll copy and paste. So if I run this command now, it's going to fail. Do you know why? This resource group doesn't exist. So I need to update. There are some things that sometimes, even if you go online, maybe you want to create a virtual machine, you can just go online and say, I need PowerShell script to create a virtual machine. You are going to see script online, but there are some things you need to change when you want to create your resources. So here now, this resource group now, I'm going to go and select our YAF resource group because that's the resource group I want to create. I'm creating all my resources on. So I'll have to minimize this guy so that I can always, let me reduce the size of this screen. Okay. So now what I'm looking for now is YAF resource group. So I will just come here, search for resource, go to resource group. Then from resource group, I will now select the resource group I want to work on, which is YAF Cloud Computing. So basically what I need, I just want to copy the name. It's just the name that I need. That's all. So I'll copy the name of the resource group. I'll copy it. Then I'll come here. I'll maximize this guy back so that it will be big for all of us to see. Then I'll go to where the resource group is and go and change the name. So the resource group, I'll change the name. So I'll just clear, then I'll paste. So now I've changed the name of the resource group to YAF Cloud Computing. So now the name of the VM, maybe this VM now, I want to call it, let's say YAF file server. I'll change the name to YAF, let me say YAF, let me use YAF file server. So this virtual machine now, we're using it for YAF file server. So the virtual network name, if I leave it like this, that means it's going to create, the virtual network is going to be my VNet PS. So I can just say the virtual network name now. I'll change the name because most times all these things, you are the one that will specify what you want. So most times, as a cloud engineer, you are more or less like a creator. You create what you want. You name what you want. Okay, this is the name I want this thing to have. This is it, this is it, this is it, this is it, this is it. So we can call this YAF file server VNet. So I'll remove this guy. So now the subnet, I can leave it as my subnet. The network security group, you can also change the name. The public IP, you can also change it. So now we'll just click on create. Let's see if it's going to run. It might give an error, but like I always say, errors are your friend. If it gives you an error, then fine. So it's asking me for username. So I'm going to specify the username, the administrator username, just like when we're creating from GUI, we have to put admin username. In creating from PowerShell also, you need to put your admin username. So I'll just give it my name, Oyimafu SVC, or let me just say Oyimafu. Then I'll hit enter. It asks me for password. I'll now give a password of my choice. We see that creating a VM from here is not really too stressful. The other one now from GUI, you'll be doing this, next, come here, do this, do the other one. But in Azure Portal, you see, it's just creating. It will be creating, it will be working from the command line. So you'll be creating. So if you are scared of PowerShell or you are scared of command like this, you need to embrace it because it's going to make life easy for you. All these things is going to make life easy for you. So once the VM finish creating, we are going to go and check that resource group. Let's see. We can see, our virtual machine has been created. If it was from GUI now, you have to be waiting for deployment, waiting for this, waiting for that, and that. So we can see now that the VM has been created from PowerShell. There's a warning message here. Always make sure you pay attention to any warning message so that at least you will be proactive in case. So here now we have upcoming breaking changes in the singlet, new AZVM. So now what Microsoft is telling me now is that new AZVM now, there will be upcoming breaking changes in this singlet. Then the default VM size change from standard underscore D2S to standard underscore D2S underscore V5. So all these things are things that we need to take note of. Like this change will take effect on 11th of on November 1st, 2025. So this thing now, I can just copy it and post it on LinkedIn because some people may not know. So that's why most times when you are doing things, you get to know things on time. So Microsoft is saying that warning, upcoming breaking changes in the singlet, new AZVM. So in this singlet now, in the future, there will be the default VM size will change from standard D2S V3 to standard D2S V5, meaning that if I'm creating a virtual machine and I did not specify size, this is the default size it will select for me. It will no longer select D2S V3. So, and it's going to take effect from November 1st, 2025. This is an update. So the change is expected to take effect on AZ version. So this is just some of the things that we need to take note of. That is why our warnings, we need to take them very serious. So we'll go back to the portal. Let me minimize this guy. So now we are back to YAF. We are back to the GUI. We have left PowerShell. So if I refresh this resource group, we are going to see that virtual machine that we just created. We are going to see everything. So here now, if I come down, we'll see it. YAF file server, which is the virtual network we created. Then this is the VM, YAF file, YAF file server VM. So we can see how fast it is creating resources from PowerShell. So here now we are going to see it. This is the public IP. This is the size. The size is D2SV3. Let's not forget, Microsoft is saying that from December 1st, it will now be due towards V5, not V3. So these are the things that we need to take note of. This is the time created, 8:26. This time now is in UTC. So UTC, we are 1 hour ahead. So that is why our time here is 9:29, but the time here is 8:26. So if you come down, you see all the settings and all. So we have been able to create a virtual machine from PowerShell. So let me drop the script on the chat so that you can just keep it in your archive. Okay, I've dropped it on the chat. So the next thing now we are going to do is to delete this virtual machine. Remember, once you finish creating any resource, always delete. So now I will select everything associated to the virtual machine. I will delete YAF file server, delete YAF file server network interface. So anything YAF file server, I'll just be deleting them from A to Z. So I've deleted, we also have something here. Okay, remember we created YAF file server. So this app server has been here. So I'll just delete the ones we created, which is YAF file server VNet, YAF file server. So I'll just click on the 3 dots here, delete. So once I click on delete, it's going to delete it. So I'm applying force delete. So I'll just say delete, then delete. So don't forget to delete your resources after you finish creating them. It's very important. Delete your resources because somehow later, even me that I have a lot of virtual machines, I'll soon delete some of them. Those virtual machines, they are just there. I will check the ones that I know that I'm not really using for any serious task. I'll delete it. So why that one is deleting? If we click on Cloud Shell, it will open again. If I click on it, it will go. So everything is like you are turning on a switch, on and off. If I click on it, it comes on. If I click out, it goes. Click on, click out, it goes. Click on, click out. So now we have been able to create a virtual machine from where? From PowerShell. So now let's create a virtual machine from Bash. So the difference is that if you are using PowerShell to create the resources, their commands are different. So PowerShell command is different from Bash command. There are some people that they like using PowerShell because they understand PowerShell commands than Bash, which is command prompt. So I'll switch to Bash. So now we are now in Bash. So I'm going to drop the command now to create virtual machine from Bash. So I'll copy. So the virtual machine now we are creating this time is an Ubuntu VM. So I'll paste it. So once I paste it, remember, I need to select the resource group. So the resource group we use is YAF Cloud Computing ROG. So I'll come here. Let me see if I can paste from here. Okay. It's not allowing me. Let me do paste. Okay. So now I'm going to clear this guy because if you make any mistake in the PowerShell, it's going to bleed. You're going to see error. So now we're using YAF Cloud Computing. That is the name of the resource group. Then the name of the virtual machine, I can call it YAF Ubuntu Server or YAF Ubuntu VM. So we know Ubuntu is Linux. So we'll call it YAF Ubuntu. Then we'll come down. The image. Here you can choose to specify the Ubuntu version you want among the Linux distribution. So the location, we're using East-US. Then the admin username, we are specifying it here on the command prompt. This is not best practice because everybody now know the password. So, but I will delete it immediately in case, because I will be posting it on YouTube. Some people will go and watch it and like, let me try, but it will have been gone by then. So I'll just click on enter. Let's see. So you can see there are some errors. So invalid image, Ubuntu, use a valid image, valid custom image. So now I'm going to select another custom image. So this Ubuntu LTS is not accepting it. I'm going to use Ubuntu 2404. So most times when you see error, don't be scared. Just just check the error there and just select any other options that you can select, and it will even tell you where the error is coming from. So I'll just collapse, I'll clear this Ubuntu, then I'll put 2404. So I'm selecting this option here, this one, Ubuntu 2404. So let me hit enter, let me see. So you will see now it will create. So most times if you are scared, like this thing, why is it giving me error? You can't run from error if you are in IT world. Sometimes you may be trying to debug an issue. It will take you 1 month. You are still looking for solution to where the problem is coming from. It happens. Sometimes, if you will do. You will now discover that it's just one small thing that is the problem. At the end of the day, once you just fix it, everything will work. So you can't run away from all these things. It's normal. It's part of the learning process. Everybody is learning. So we'll just wait for the VM to create. Once it creates, we are going to confirm the creation, then we'll delete, then we are going to call off the class for today. So we just wait. The virtual machine is in progress. So you can always watch the recording. That is why all these videos are recorded. So some of us, we need to watch it like 2 times before we really understand. And mind you, you are attending this class so that you will have idea of what cloud computing is all about. Once you get a job, once you get there, don't be scared. You will do it. It's something that you will do because you will have colleagues. If maybe, for instance, now somebody, I'm going to an organization now. There needs to be somebody there that is going to like, okay, this is what we have. This is our infrastructure. These are our resources also. So the person will do onboarding for you. It will tell you what they do there. So you now coming there, the idea you have is what will help you. Because they may ask you, what's a virtual machine? What's this? What's that? If you can explain, this is what I know what this thing is used for, then they'll give you a chance. Most times you must not be one like somebody that knows everything. It's the grace of God. It's the grace of God. And before you know, you just so let's keep hope alive and have faith. So let's just wait for this to run. So it will soon create. So we'll close early today. So if you are with, let me drop the command we ran on the chat. So if you are with me here, please raise your hands up. Raise your hand if you are in this class. I want to know those that are in this class. Okay, thank you. So our virtual machine has finished creating. So we have the virtual machine here and the power state is VM running. So I will now go to Azure portal. So I will click on PowerShell, the Cloud Shell. So if I refresh this guy now, I'm going to see that VM, the VM we just created, which is YAF Ubuntu. We can see it here, YAF Ubuntu. So we have created virtual machine using PowerShell and using command prompt, which is bash. So I'll delete it. I'll go ahead and delete because right now I don't have need of Ubuntu server. I don't want to host Docker application right now. So I didn't have any Docker application I want to host. Then I will need it. So I'll just delete it. So I just want us to take note of all these things that we are doing because that's your strength too. Just have idea. Have idea of okay, this is how cloud computing is. And when you get there, everything will be fine. So thank you very much for joining. So we'll be ending the section here. Thank you very much. So thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for the
Thank you, sir.
thank you, sir.
Your phone.